Most traders lose before the market even moves. Not because they are stupid, not because they lack strategy, not because they don't work hard. They lose because their mind is loud, too emotional, too reactive, too desperate to prove something. The market punishes noise. Every impulsive trade, every revenge entry, every moment of panic, every need to feel important. That's where accounts disappear. But the silent trader moves differently. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't scream about profits. He doesn't force trades to feel alive. He waits. He studies. He controls himself when others collapse. Because the long game belongs to the calm mind. This audiobook is not about hype. It is about discipline, patience, emotional control. You have a choice. Stay loud and lose slowly, or become silent and build power quietly. That's the key.
Like, share, subscribe now.
They are losing because they cannot control themselves. That is the truth nobody wants to hear. People love blaming the strategy. They blame the broker. They blame manipulation. They blame bad luck. But very few traders wake up and say, "My emotions are the problem." That level of honesty is rare. And that is why disciplined traders are rare. Because discipline begins with brutal self-awareness. Not ego, not excuses, not motivation. Awareness. The moment you realize that your biggest enemy is your own emotional reaction, everything changes. That's the key. The market is not emotional. You are. The chart is not angry. You are. The candle is not desperate. You are. And desperation creates destruction. Most traders are addicted to action, not progress. Read that again. They are addicted to movement, noise, activity, excitement, not improvement. That is why they keep opening trades that make no sense. They feel uncomfortable doing nothing. Silence makes them nervous. Waiting feels weak to them. But the silent trader understands something powerful. No trade is also a position. You do not need to react to everything. That's one of the hardest lessons in trading. Because human beings are emotional creatures. When price moves, people want to move with it. When the market explodes, they feel pressure to join. When everybody online talks about profits, they panic. They think they're missing something. So they chase. And chasing destroys traders. A trader sees one big candle. He jumps in late. Price reverses immediately. Now he feels stupid. Now he feels angry. Now he wants revenge. So he opens another trade. Bigger lot size. Less patience. Less logic. More emotion. And within 1 hour, he destroys what took weeks to build. Not because he lacked intelligence, because he lacked control. A calm mind sees what emotional minds miss. You have a choice. You can continue reacting like everybody else, or you can become dangerous through patience. Because patience is power. Silence is power. Control is power. But most people never reach that level because they are addicted to stimulation. They cannot sit still. They cannot wait for confirmation. They cannot accept boredom. And trading becomes dangerous when boredom enters the room. Boredom creates fake opportunities. A trader stares at charts for hours. Nothing is happening. No clean setup, no confirmation, no edge. But the trader feels restless, so the brain starts creating stories. Maybe this could work. This looks close enough. I don't want to miss the move. That is how discipline dies. Not through one massive mistake, but through small emotional compromises. That's the key. Every losing habit begins as a small emotional decision. One impatient entry, one revenge trade, one oversized position, one ignored stop loss. And eventually, those small decisions become a destructive identity. Now, the trader is no longer disciplined. Now, he is reactive. And reactive traders always lose eventually, because the market punishes emotional inconsistency. The market rewards discipline, not performance. Understand this deeply. One winning trade means nothing. Anybody can get lucky. Anybody can guess correctly once. That is not mastery. Mastery is consistency. Mastery is emotional stability. Mastery is executing the same process repeatedly, even when emotions scream for chaos. That is what separates professionals from gamblers. Gamblers need excitement. Professionals need structure. Gamblers trade to feel something. Professionals trade to execute something. Huge difference. And social media has made this problem worse. Now, traders are not only fighting the market, they are fighting comparison. Every day they see screenshots, luxury cars, massive profits, people pretending they never lose, and weak minds begin chasing validation instead of skill. They want to look successful instead of becoming successful. So they force trades, they overtrade, they risk too much, because secretly they want attention, they want proof, they want people to admire them. But the silent trader moves differently. The silent trader does not need applause. He does not need everybody to believe in him. You don't need their permission. That's the key. The strongest traders are often invisible, quiet, focused, calm. They are not posting every trade. They are not screaming online. They are not trying to impress strangers. They are building quietly. And quiet growth lasts longer because ego is expensive in trading. The louder the ego becomes, the weaker discipline becomes. A trader wins 3 trades, now he feels unstoppable. Now he increases risk. Now he ignores rules. Now he thinks he is smarter than the market. And the market humbles him immediately. Because the market does not care about confidence. It cares about discipline. The market rewards discipline, not performance. Never forget that. There will be days when you lose despite following your rules, and there will be days when you win despite breaking them. This confuses emotional traders, because emotional traders judge themselves based on outcomes. Professional traders judge themselves based on execution. That changes everything. If you followed your system correctly, you succeeded, even if the trade lost. Why? Because long-term success is built on process, not emotion, not ego, not temporary results. The long game is built through patience, and patience is rare because modern people are addicted to immediacy. They want fast money, fast results, fast validation, fast success. But trading punishes impatience brutally. The market will tempt you constantly. It will bait your emotions. It will test your discipline. It will whisper, "Enter now, risk more." Chase the move, and emotional traders obey instantly. But silent traders pause. That pause changes everything, because one moment of patience can save months of pain. A calm mind sees what emotional minds miss. That pause allows logic to return. That pause prevents revenge trading. That pause prevents impulsive entries. That pause protects capital. And protecting capital is more important than making money. Most traders never understand this. They think trading is about making money quickly. No, trading is about surviving long enough to become consistent. That's the real game. You cannot grow an account you constantly destroy emotionally. You cannot build confidence while behaving recklessly. You cannot create consistency while living in emotional chaos. You have a choice. You can continue living emotionally, or you can build emotional discipline slowly. But understand this clearly. Discipline is not natural. Discipline is trained. Nobody wakes up calm automatically. Nobody becomes patient overnight. Patience is built through repetition, through pain, through mistakes, through self-awareness. The silent trader has usually suffered enough to finally understand the truth. Reaction creates regret. Patience creates power. That's the key. Look at weak traders closely. Their emotions control everything.
If they win, they become overconfident. If they lose, they become depressed. If the market moves fast, they panic. If the market slows down, they get bored. Their emotional state changes every hour. That instability destroys decision-making because emotional minds cannot think clearly. Fear creates hesitation. A trader sees the perfect setup, but he remembers the last loss. Now fear enters. Now he hesitates. Now price moves without him. Then frustration appears. Then anger appears. Then revenge appears. And suddenly, discipline disappears completely. Greed creates overtrading. One win is not enough. The trader wants more, then more, then more. He cannot stop. He feels invincible temporarily, and greed blinds him to risk. Anger creates revenge trades. This is where many accounts die. A trader loses money. Instead of accepting the loss calmly, he takes it personally. Now he wants revenge against the market. But the market is not emotional. It does not care. So the trader enters emotionally again and loses again. Then bigger losses come, then panic, then destruction, all because emotions took control. You do not need to react to everything. Burn that sentence into your mind, because reaction is expensive. Reaction destroys accounts. Reaction destroys focus. Reaction destroys confidence. Silence protects you. Patience protects you. Structure protects you. Most people do not want structure. They want excitement. But excitement is dangerous in trading. If trading feels thrilling constantly, you are probably trading emotionally. Professional trading often feels boring, simple, calm.
Repetitious. And many people hate repetition. But repetition creates mastery. Quiet habits create loud results. That's the truth people ignore. Everybody wants visible success. Few people want invisible discipline. Nobody sees the silent trader waking up early consistently. Nobody sees him journaling trades. Nobody sees him reviewing mistakes honestly. Nobody sees him avoiding unnecessary trades. Nobody sees the emotional battles happening internally. But those invisible habits create visible results later. That is how real success works. Quietly first, loudly later. But weak people want loud results immediately, so they skip the process. And skipped processes create weak foundations. A weak foundation collapses under pressure. That's why many traders perform well temporarily but fail long-term. They built success emotionally instead of structurally. The strongest traders look boring from the outside. No drama, no emotional explosions, no desperate energy, just systems, rules, repetition, execution, again and again. They understand something emotional traders never learn. Consistency is built through emotional neutrality, not hype, not motivation, not excitement. Neutrality. Because emotional extremes damage decision-making. If you become too excited, discipline weakens. If you become too fearful, clarity disappears. So the silent trader trains emotional balance constantly. Not perfection, balance. That's the key. You will still feel emotions. Fear will still appear. Greed will still appear. Doubt will still appear. But disciplined traders do not obey every emotion they feel. That is the difference. Weak people obey feelings instantly. Strong people question feelings first. Massive difference. And this principle applies beyond trading. It applies to life. Most people destroy themselves through emotional reactions. One angry moment ruins relationships. One impulsive decision ruins finances. One emotional habit ruins years of progress. Emotion without discipline creates chaos everywhere. That's why self-control is power. Real power is not loud. Real power is controlled. Anybody can react. Few people can remain calm under pressure.
And calmness creates clarity. A calm mind sees what emotional minds miss. When everybody panics, the silent trader observes. When everybody chases, the silent trader waits. When everybody screams online, the silent trader studies quietly. Because he understands the long game. And the long game changes everything. Weak traders think about today. Strong traders think about years. Weak traders chase excitement. Strong traders protect longevity. Huge difference. You have a choice. You can build for temporary emotion or permanent strength. But permanent strength requires sacrifice. You must sacrifice impulsiveness. You must sacrifice ego. You must sacrifice the need to prove yourself constantly. And many people cannot do that. They would rather feel important temporarily than become successful permanently. That mindset destroys potential. You don't need their permission. You do not need applause to stay disciplined. You do not need attention to become powerful. The strongest growth often happens in silence. Remember that. The tree grows silently. The building foundation is built underground. Muscles grow during recovery. And disciplined traders are built through quiet repetition. Not noise, not hype.
Not performance. The market rewards discipline, not performance. Say it again. The market rewards discipline, not performance. Because performance can be temporary. Discipline is sustainable. A lucky trader can make money quickly. A disciplined trader keeps money long-term. And keeping money matters more. Many people can make money. Few people can keep it. Why? Because emotional instability eventually destroys success. Without discipline, success becomes dangerous. Success feeds ego. Ego weakens caution. Weak caution creates destruction. That cycle repeats constantly. That is why patience matters so much. Patience protects you from yourself. The long game is built through patience. Patience allows probability to work. Patience allows emotional clarity. Patience allows quality setups. Patience filters out chaos. But impatient traders sabotage themselves constantly. They want movement every hour. They think constant action equals productivity. But in trading, constant action often means constant mistakes. Sometimes the most profitable decision is doing absolutely nothing. That takes maturity to understand. And maturity is rare, because people are conditioned to believe movement equals progress. But movement without direction creates exhaustion. That applies to life too. Many people stay busy to avoid facing themselves. Noise distracts them from truth. Silence exposes truth. And that is uncomfortable. Silence reveals impatience. Silence reveals insecurity. Silence reveals emotional weakness. That is why many people avoid it. But growth begins when excuses end. Growth begins when honesty begins. Ask yourself honestly, do you trade with discipline or emotion? Do you wait for quality or chase stimulation? Do you protect capital or gamble emotionally? Be honest, because honesty creates transformation. Lies create stagnation. You cannot improve what you refuse to admit. That's the key. Most traders already know what they are doing wrong. They just refuse to stop. Because emotional habits feel addictive. Overtrading feels exciting. Revenge trading feels satisfying temporarily. Ignoring rules feels powerful temporarily. But temporary emotion creates permanent damage. And eventually, reality collects the bill. Every emotional decision has a price. Every impulsive trade has a consequence. That is why disciplined traders think long-term constantly. They understand that one emotional moment can destroy months of progress. So they slow down intentionally.
They pause intentionally. They think intentionally. And intentional thinking creates better decisions. That is real strength. Not aggression, not constant activity. Control.
Quiet habits create loud results. Never underestimate the power of boring discipline. Boring discipline builds extraordinary outcomes over time. The problem is most people quit before results appear. They want immediate proof, immediate rewards, immediate success. But mastery is slow, and slowness frustrates emotional people. So they abandon the process too early. Then they repeat the same destructive cycle again. New strategy, new indicator, new excitement. Same emotional behavior, same losses. Because the problem was never the system. The problem was the mindset. A calm mind sees what emotional minds miss. The silent trader understands this deeply. That is why he focuses more on psychology than prediction. Because prediction without discipline is useless. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if emotions control execution, you will still lose. Execution matters more than knowledge. Consistency matters more than intelligence. Discipline matters more than excitement. Always remember that. The strongest traders are emotionally stable first, strategic second, because stability allows proper execution. Without stability, everything collapses eventually. So stop trying to look like a successful trader. Become one quietly. Stop seeking validation. Seek mastery. Stop reacting emotionally. Start responding intentionally. Stop forcing opportunities. Start waiting for quality. Stop chasing excitement. Start building discipline. You have a choice every single day, and those daily choices shape your future. One emotional decision at a time. One disciplined decision at a time. That is how identities are built. Not instantly, repeatedly. The silent trader becomes powerful because he understands repetition. He understands consistency. He understands emotional control. And most importantly, he understands himself. That self-awareness changes everything. Because once you understand your emotional weaknesses, you can finally begin controlling them. That is where real growth begins. Not in the market, inside yourself. And in the next chapter, you will understand why emotional control alone is not enough. Because silence without structure still creates confusion. You must build rules strong enough to protect you from yourself. That's the next level. That's where real transformation begins.
In the end, trading is not a battle against the market. It is a battle against yourself, against your impulses, your ego, your fear, your need to constantly act. The loud mind always loses control eventually, but the silent trader survives, and survival is power. Because once you survive long enough, you learn. Once you learn long enough, you improve. And once you improve long enough, you win. Slowly, quietly, consistently. You have a choice. Keep chasing noise, or build a mind that stays calm while others panic. Remember this. The market does not reward the loudest trader. It rewards the most disciplined one. Stay patient, stay controlled, stay silent. That's how the long game is won.